Adam Silver, the NBA commissioner, just continues to deny that there's a major problem with the league. Although I think the drumbeat, not the Bing Crosby drumbeat, but the drumbeat that's going on among a lot of us, myself included, about the NBA's three-point shot problem. There's too many goddamn three-pointers. The Boston Celtics are averaging over 50 three-pointers chucked up a night. And we got teams running up and down the court, playing Pop-A-Shot. And for those of us who are old enough to remember basketball, and again, I'll be the Gran Torino guy right now, Ron. But I remember what it was like when basketball was a little more varied in terms of what we could expect when we were watching a game than just guys attempting layups and dunks and chucking up 25 footers. Adam Silver, look, he knows ratings are down. We've talked about it. Television ratings in the NBA this season are down about 20%, but Adam Silver is insisting that the league's problems are not that great because their social media interaction with fans is higher than it's ever been. Obviously, they're entering into a new television deal, which is where the real money is, and they're raking it in there. So I am not one of these people who's going to say that the sky is falling when we talk about the NBA. However, I will say that there is a growing problem here because more and more people are talking about the fact that the on-court product just isn't that entertaining. And if you don't want to take it from me, let's listen to Celtics head coach Joe Mazzulla answering the question of, does he watch the NBA on television himself?
Ratings and ratings being down, what are the reasons for that? Is it the product? Is it the messaging? Is it other things? Do you have any thoughts on that? Is it a conversation you pay attention to at all? And do you have any thoughts on maybe how the game is discussed or sold that maybe is contributing to it?
No, I mean, I add to that. I don't watch NBA games, so I'm just as much a follower as anyone else is.
Is there a reason for that?
I don't like watching the games.
I don't like watching the games, he says. Ron, are we reading too much into that? If he had said, I'm busy preparing or whatever, I don't have time to watch the games, that'd be one thing. But if we take him at face value, he just told us the same thing that you and I feel. He doesn't like watching the games.
Ricky, I mean, I'm not trying to hot take guy here, just telling the truth. I don't know anything about the NBA right now, in terms of records. I think we talked about, I remembered that the Sixers started off really slow. I'm going to make an assumption that the Celtics are still good, but I don't know anything. I don't know who has good records. I don't know who have bad records. I don't know who's surprising. I don't know who's disappointing. I don't know anything that's going on in the NBA right now. And I have to believe I'm not alone.
Well, you're definitely not alone among at least a wide swath of fans of a certain age anyway. Look, maybe these 13 and 15-year-old kids coming up today, this is all they know. So they think they're watching the greatest fucking thing ever. But for those of us that remember what the game was like before it got to the state that it's at now, for those of us that remember Magic, Bird, Jordan, even Kobe and Shaq, I mean, that era of the NBA is getting pretty far in the rearview mirror now. And look, it's not just Joe Mazzulla, it's other very prominent figures talking about this, such as Shaquille O'Neal.
Well, this game we're watching now, I don't know what the fuck we're watching now. This is terrible.
I was talking to some younger dudes. They say, yeah, I said the 90s, and it was way harder than this. You guys, this is kind of soft. Am I lying? Am I crazy? I'm not a basketball expert.
It's soft, and I've said this a million times. It's soft because everybody's doing the same thing. It drives me crazy. I hate we've lost chasing the mystery. What I mean by that, every morning we had a shoot around to try to solve how the fuck we going to stop Ewing? How are we going to stop Kevin Garnett? How are we going to stop Michael Jordan and his triangle? How are we going to stop Utah and a million pick and rolls. Now, switching, I saw Lakers were playing the Spurs, and you have Austin Reed on Wembanyama. I turned the TV off. How you switch a 5'11" guy on a 7'5" and expect him to be? I'm like, come on, man. I turned it off.
All right, Ron, that's pretty similar to what you were saying the other day. The idea that the possibilities of what could happen as a team is dribbling the ball up the court, they have gone away. And even Silver is acknowledging this. He's not getting to the point where he's saying we're going to move the three-point line. They're going to eventually have to fucking move it, I think. I don't know how long that's going to take for them to get to that point, but it's sooner or later they're almost going to have to move it. But he's talking about how a lot of different teams' offenses, they all look alike. That the jerseys are different, but teams are all trying to do the same things because the march of ruthless efficiency has occurred because the analytics don't lie. And so they can tell you where the highest value shots are on the court, and every team is trying to get there. And so you just end up with a whole bunch of games that all look alike. What Shaq was saying about, how are we going to deal with Ewing? How are we going to deal with Utah? Different teams posing different problems. Whereas now, you know that a different team is rolling into town tomorrow, but they're probably going to be jacking up 45 or 53s, and you know what you're going to have to do because every game, more or less, looks the same.
It just, I said it. I mean, I guess pat myself on the back, but I was just calling what I saw. It's just boring. Like, it is so boring. Like, nothing seems new or exciting, and there's no like I wonder what's going to happen next. And I feel that way in so many other sports, but basketball, I just know what's going to happen. And I'm like, meh. I mean, I guess maybe the last couple minutes of a game could be exciting if, one team's down by 3 and they're trying to close the gap, get it into overtime or win. But other than that, I mean, why? It's boring.
It's hard. It's hard to watch. Charles Barkley, among those who have been chiming in lately about the NBA's problems. Let's listen to Chuck.
The best ratings we've ever had were the year we went on strike, Dan, and started on Christmas. I think we need to seriously consider starting at Christmas because you get caught. Because listen, you're wasting your time going up against the NFL and college football. They own the weekends now. But if we started at Christmas, we'd have all the because there's no other sports, that we'd have to compete with if we started at Christmas.
All right, Ron. He says, start the season at Christmas. I completely agree that the NBA would benefit. At least, I think it would be a more compelling product if they played about half as many games as they play.
Well, they're never going to play half the games because of the money.
Exactly. Caitlin Clark is going to get her number retired in Iowa in February. Caitlin Clark, number 22. You might be aware, and in some nice Hawkeye branding, we're going to see Caitlin Clark in Iowa on February the 2nd. That's 2/2, if you're looking at the calendar, where she will be honored, jersey retired, and, of course, richly deserved. But even better, USC and Juju Watkins are going to be in the house that night. So it's quite a ticket in Iowa. This might be the event of the year in Iowa. I don't know. No offense, Iowans, but tickets going for upwards of $500 just to get in the building. Caitlin, not even playing. She'll be there, is my assumption, to be honored. So people coming out paying upwards of $500 just to see Caitlin Clark in person. Mama, that's her. Mama, I see her. It's going to be memories for some of these kids. And then they get to see Juju Watkins, who Ronnie T-shirt says is maybe better than Caitlin Clark. And George Karl is out of his head saying that maybe she could even play in the NBA. We may need to do a wellness check on Coach Carl. South Carolina, on the very same date, February 2nd, 2025, is going to be honoring the best player in the WNBA, and that is A'ja Wilson. 3-time MVP, including this year, 2-time WNBA champion, and a 2-time gold medalist. Is going to get her jersey retired. What were you waiting on, South Carolina? She's already got a statue in 2021. So the only thing left, she brought them a national championship in 2017. The only thing left now, apparently, is to retire her jersey. And if you are looking for a women's basketball luminaries jersey retirement ceremony to go to on February the 2nd, and who among us isn't, you might want to head down to South Carolina because you can get in for under $50 there. It's going to run you a lot more. And if you think that the almost $500 it costs now, if you want to get a ticket to see Caitlin Clark have her jersey retired, I got a feeling you better get in on this. This is like the goddamn Taylor Swift Eras Tour. If you wait closer to February the 2nd, God knows what it's going to cost you to go see Caitlin Clark. Ronnie, I'm going to do a segue here. I said I was going to bring you in here. I'm going to do a segue. 2 women that have made news, Caitlin Clark and A'ja Wilson. Well, in September of 75, there were 2 women who made news for very different reasons. They tried to kill President Ford. Are you aware of this? Look at that. My voice is cracking. I'm so excited about this. I just entered second puberty. It's a big day for me. My voice is cracking over here. Are you aware that Gerald Ford, this is one of my favorite presidential little factual nuggets. Gerald Ford, who was left with the presidency after Dick Nixon resigned after Watergate. He lost to Carter in 76. Everybody liked Gerald Ford. He was fumbling and bumbling. He was actually a great athlete at Michigan, but he became known. Chevy Chase used to make fun of him on Saturday Night Live because he took a few high-profile tumbles. He's a little clumsy, Gerald Ford. And so that's about all he's known for. He kept the seat warm between Nixon and Carter. Not a very controversial figure by any means, but 2 assassination attempts 17 days apart in September 1975, and it was women both times. Normally when you think of that, you figure that the attempted assassin is going to be a male, and you'd be right about 98% of the time, but not with Gerald Ford. So I asked AI, and we are living in the era of AI, so you got to get with it, folks. This is it. AI is going to be doing everything here in short order in society, so I'm always trying to keep up at least a little bit with what's going on with artificial intelligence. And Grok, the built-in AI with X, it's the best AI that I've ever played around with. So I asked it, what would it look like if Gerald Ford had released a rap album in the 1980s about the attempted assassination attempts? And this is what I got. Missed me, bitches. That is Death Row's latest release there. Gerald Ford collabing with Dr. Dre, no doubt. I will say, Ronnie, and I will now bring in the international streaming star from Nashville, Tennessee, Ronnie T-shirts. And Ronnie, I will say I did instruct it to call the album Missed Me Bitches. It didn't come up with that on its own, which would be double incredible. Right. But the title was mine. AI is not quite that clever yet. When we get to the point where AI can do the stuff that I do, I'm not sure how I feel about that. On the one hand, I'll just be like, Grok, tweet for me all day in my style. And then I'll just sit back and do nothing. But then again, on the other hand, if AI can replace us, Ron, I guess we're all fucked. So I'm not sure whether I should be rooting for it or rooting against it.
Is it true that the Mystics owner was a little miffed over Caitlin Clark and her jersey retired and said that the entire team should get their jersey retired?
Let's retire everybody's jersey. Iowa had some other good players.
We're going to go numberless.
You can get
just
jealous.
No names.
Yeah. So it's about the name on the front of the jersey. Let's retire everybody's jersey or retire no jerseys at all. Look, at least they're not wasting any time, Ron. South Carolina, I don't know what they're doing down there. She's been gone for like 7 years. She's already got a statue. Normally you get the jersey retired before you get the statue?
Yeah.
They got it backwards.
Very backwards.
Yeah, they've gotten it backwards in South Carolina. Speaking of having things backwards, perhaps, the Scripps National Spelling Bee, Ron, you know, I used to like to watch these now and again. You get the little kids together once a year, and they're just spelling words that you've never even fucking heard of and don't understand, and there's some 12-year-old boy from India who can spell every fucking thing. I gave up on it a number of years ago, Ron. Do you remember? I don't know what year it was, but there was a year they had like an 8-way tie. It was like a 7 or 8-way tie, and they just ended the spelling bee because none of these kids were missing words, and I guess they all technically finished in first place. And I was like, what kind of anti-American bullshit is that?
Mystics owner again had her thumbprint on it.
Yeah. Was she involved at that time? Well, they're making news this time because take a look. They issued, these are 3rd grade words, Ron. Words that are considered to be good words for 3rd graders to practice and try to gain mastery over. And one of them here, we've got it blown up, and it's a lot of just regular words. If you see the entire list, there's solution was one of the words, you know, like I can't remember off the top of my head, but they're just like good words for a 3rd grader.
Could you use that in a sentence? Could you tell me the origin? Could you tell me the origin of the word?
Yeah. Stall. I always like it when the kids stall.
Their stalling tactics are amazing.
Yeah. Well, take a look at this. Women or women with a Y is okay. The preferred spelling, at least, thank God, is still WOMEN, but they will accept WOMYN, Ron. Are you aware that that's a way that you can spell women also?
Literally never seen that before. So it's just, it's so,
do you know
so
why?
unacceptable. Because it's not a word. Because it's not a word.
Well, what do you think that the word women with a Y is trying to accomplish? How do you think that word is trying to improve upon the original, Ron? Get inside the woke mind for me.
If it's a dude that thinks they're a woman. Is that it?
It is not. It is not. It's men. There are some hardcore feminists that they don't even want the MEN in their name. They're so anti-male.
You have to be kidding me.
The Y replaces suggesting that women are reliant upon men for anything. That's where it comes from. It's a radical feminist thing. So there you go. Some kid goes WOMYN. Maybe take a look at the parenting that's going on in that household when you have a 3rd grader who comes out with that spelling.
We live in such dumb times.
All right, Ron. Look, speaking of dumb things, Ryan Day can't beat Michigan, and he can't beat SEC schools in bowl games, Ron. I'm pulling for you. You know I am. But Ryan Day, as you and I have discussed, you've been clear about it. You said the only thing short of a national championship that is going to save Ryan Day's job is a competitive effort in the championship game where they play well and they just happen to lose. And I would say you're probably right about that. If they lose 27-24 in a well-played national championship
like when we lost to Georgia
game,
a couple years ago.
Yeah. where, sometimes you lose and sometimes you play well and the other team just beats you. If that happens, then maybe, I'm not 100% sure, you probably aren't either, that he would keep his job under those circumstances. But people are talking. And Stephen A. Smith has a bright idea about what might bring the sizzle to Columbus if Ryan Day goes. Let's take a listen to Stephen A.
I think in the age of the NFL, on the NIL, and the transfer portal and all of that, the combination of the two, I think when you have these blue chip programs, you're looking for sizzle. You're not just of course you're looking for production. Ultimately, somebody that can get the job done. It definitely always comes down to that. But if you can get the sizzle to be an allure, an attraction that's going to generate revenue for you, not just with the games, but just the mere mention of your name and what that brings. See, that's where the prime times of the world come into play, and that's what's going to make him so attractive. You got to remember, Colorado was one of the biggest stories in college football last year. They were 4-8. They lost 6 straight, 7-8. So why? Because of him.
All right, Ron. Let's marry the two things about college football that we've talked about the most together. Of course, Ohio State is baked into the cookie of this show.
Yep.
Because you're my sidekick, and as long as you are riding in that seat, we're going to be talking about Ohio State football on here because it's just a big part of who you are.
Yep.
The thing that probably I've talked about the most with interest in college football in the history of this program has been Deion and what he's been doing out in Colorado. And sometimes we praise him and sometimes we roll our eyes. There's been moments where we've gotten a little tired of it, but by pretty much all accounts, Deion has done a rather good job in Colorado. He's got them poised on the national stage now. He's about to lose the Heisman Trophy winner and his son, who was the Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year. But he's got, I think, like the number 2 guy in the nation coming there to play quarterback. And obviously Deion is able to connect with these young guys. How would you feel if Ryan Day doesn't come back? Would you be psyched to get Deion?
Absolutely not. No chance. Ohio State
Really?
Oh, God, no.
Really?
Dude.
Well, we're not saying that you need him, but
Ricky.
Wouldn't he do a good job? If he can do what he's done in Colorado in 2 years, what could he do with the power of the Ohio State University behind him?
So he took a shit program and made him okay. Ohio State is an elite program. We have been elite for the last 25, 30 years. We don't need that pomp and circumstance at Ohio State. We need a coach that knows how to coach. Deion Sanders first of all, he wouldn't be received well at all at Ohio State because, like it or not, Ohio State, Alabama, Oklahoma, Texas, they are rooted in tradition and just there's a certain feel about those places. And having somebody come in with that kind of swagger is just not, it wouldn't sit well in Columbus. But the biggest thing is Ohio State doesn't need that. We're still the top 3, get the top 3 recruiting classes every single year. We don't need that. We need a coach who doesn't have his head in his ass and runs the ball into the strongest part of Michigan's defense. We need somebody that is willing to open it up and utilize our talent and go against the part of the other team that's not very good. And for some reason against Michigan,
Deion
he wouldn't
can do
it.
that. Deion knows how to do that.
Yeah,
he can coach.
No. We absolutely.
Wow, just dismiss him prime time? You're going to dismiss Coach Prime so easily?
100%.
Speaking of sizzling, Ron, how about listening to the fireplace sizzle while David Bowie just drops in on Bing Crosby? One of my favorite all-time Christmas special moments from the late 1970s here. You've got David Bowie. Can we talk about how this never should have happened, and yet they fucking crushed it? Christmas Magic, Ron. Mix in two people that you would never think. It was like the day that the Reese's Cup was. Do you remember the Reese's Cup commercials, Ron, where guy's walking down the street and he's eating a chocolate bar? There's some chick heading down the sidewalk with just a jar of peanut butter.
Crazy person.
Just a big old, just like, who's going down the street with a jar of peanut? What kind of psychopath is walking through a metropolitan area with a jar of peanut butter?
It'd be okay in a rural area?
Well, you know, the bar for crazy in rural areas is it's a lot lower. So yeah, I mean, that might be one of the most normal people in your town. If you look back on the community that I grew up in, it was basically Mayberry. So yeah, there were some characters, but you combine two things that you don't think would necessarily work together. Although chocolate and peanut butter, it's not that much of a stretch to see how they could form a tag team. But Crosby and Bowie, that's one of my all-time. That's a top all-time favorite Christmas song for me, Ronnie. Are you with me on this important issue?
I'm just gonna. I'm not even playing dumb. Was it Little Drummer Boy or was it a different song? Because I didn't Bowie sing Little Drummer Boy.
It was Little Drummer Boy.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah.
Peace on Earth.
Okay.
Bowie starts singing over. Bing's giving you the rompa-pomp-pomps, and then Bowie comes in. Peace on Earth, can it be? Right? And it's like, oh my God! Like what just happened here?
So what do you
Christmas Magic
think
is what happened, Ron?
What do you think was a more unlikely duo, Bowie and Crosby, or Al Jarreau and Ronnie T-shirts?
That's the only thing that I can compare it to. You and Al Jarreau. Listen, the money that I would pay. Maybe this is something AI can make happen if we can live long enough, Ron. I want the AI version, just you going into Al Jarreau's hotel room where he inexplicably has a Christmas tree and you share some pizza while you flow.
And cocaine.
And cocaine that you find. Because look, I mean, your story is so fantastic because if you're going to visit Al Jarreau in his hotel room and he comes out and answers the door in his underwear, you're going to be disappointed if you don't find cocaine. This story has a payoff on every level. It's so satisfying. Yeah. You and Al Jarreau would have fucking crushed Christmas.
Yeah. So, hey, anybody who wants to hear that story.
Bang look like amateurs.
Yeah. Anybody that wants to hear that story, hop onto Apple Podcasts or Spotify and the Super 70s show. It's the first episode. It's the first episode we ever did. I tell the story. Yep. It's
a true story. Incredibly enough.
I never went to a strip club for women. I always went to strip clubs for guys.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
No homo.
We went to a strip club.
No diddy. I'm a competitor. I wasn't gonna spend no money if I didn't see nobody else spending money. As soon as I seen somebody thinking that they got money, okay, you spending 5, I'm gonna spend 6. If you gonna spend 10, I'm gonna spend 15. And then we're gonna have a rain off.
Yeah, I love it.
So
I'm not saying you do that in Onyx.
So that's my whole thing. It's like, I don't go to strip clubs for chicks, even though I want decoration. I was a competitor, still am a competitor, to think like,
I'll tell you what, I don't want to show up at an auction that Cam Newton's attending. Does Cam Newton just like go wherever bad decisions are being made and then just sees if he can top it out? What kind of fucking logic is this? I'm going to go wherever a dude is making a bad decision and see if I can make a worse one. That sounds like a solid life plan.
Yeah, it's so dumb. And you wonder why these athletes run out of money. Like they have so much money, they just do dumb things with it. But I mean, I have some friends that could probably outspend him at a strip club, but I don't know. I guess we'd have to put them together and see what happens.
Well, are they committed? Because Cam's committed. He's going to take it personally. If you go into a strip club and you drop $10,000 or $15,000, that's like a challenge accepted.
I don't think.
What it
Yeah,
sounds
the
like
one
to me.
friend, the one friend I'm thinking of, I don't think he'd go over 10. So maybe Cam would probably beat him.
I know your cheap ass wouldn't go over $10, Ron.
Oh, I wouldn't go
You'd
over.
be
I wouldn't even rain dimes on them. No chance. No. You know I hate strip
handful
clubs.
of pennies.
Yeah, you know
I
I
don't
hate
know.
strip
Cole's
clubs.
cash. Can you stick Cole's cash in a G-string? Is that allowed?
That would be so good.
Ron,
Or back in the day,
Just slip a little. Yeah,
the green
there's
stamps.
$20 between December
green stamps.
31st and January 3rd, sweetheart.
Old cash. The green stamps back in the
Keep an eye
70s
on
where
it.
they getting green stamps, a little book of green stamps.
Yeah.
They could go redeem it for a
Just
toaster.
I'm just saying. All right, well, I'm going to have to go to the commissioner of the Thursday Night Mowing League. He's a man of many titles, but that's the one that hits my heart the closest. I speak, of course, of the great Joe Kinsey, who joins me now on the program. And Joe, what do you make of it when you see Cam Newton talking about how he's going to walk into the club and he's not going to let any man possibly outspend him?
Ricky, this headline really pained me because as the guy that owns, I spent $1,500 on a pair of Cam Newton's pants, Ricky. So I know all about Cam Newton. It pained me to hear him say anything about not going to the strip club for women. Ricky, I own his BCS game pants from when he won the championship with Auburn. I own those pants. I've had Cam Newton sign them. I've met Cam Newton. I thought highly of him until he said he goes to strip clubs for the guys. That was a bad moment in my life. Thank God he said no homo, no diddy. That was the nice clarifier, but still, Ricky, it was bad.
No Diddy. I didn't even know that no Diddy was a thing.
No Diddy.
So this is just, I feel like I want to adopt this now and say this at least once a day going forward, Joe. But Tim is in my ear, though. He's saying, I have no reason to doubt you, Joe Kinsey, but Tim's in my ear. You got his attention with the Cam Newton BCS game pants.
Yeah.
That's pretty fucking cool. Tell us a little bit about that. I don't want to bury that.
Yeah, years ago, Ricky, when Cam Newton won the championship, I believe it was 2010, he won the BCS championship. Auburn was auctioning off Cam's game pants. I said, I got to have them. I bought them, Ricky. Then I didn't put, and Playboy Playmate offered to get into Cam Newton's pants for a photo shoot, Ricky. And so that is Jamie Edmondson, who is now married to Evan Longoria. She modeled Cam Newton's BCS pants for me. I turned that into content, Ricky. It did like millions of page views. It kept me employed on the internet. So that's my history with Cam Newton's pants. Those pants cost $1,500, Ricky, but they created so much content, Ricky, that I have made a fortune off of those pants. So I'm up big on Cam Newton's pants.
Dude, that's brilliant. We need the photo, pictures or it doesn't count, Joe. I mean,
Joe,
we need to see.
Joe, have you ever tried them on?
Mrs. Longoria in that. Oh, wow.
No, I've never had Cam's pants on. My wife never has had Cam's pants on, but Jamie Longoria has definitely had Cam's pants on. Hopefully Tim is looking right now for the photos. Great
yes,
photo
Tim,
shoot.
for God's sake.
Legendary.
Yeah. Tim's just gonna get lost in it for a few minutes here. He's not even in my ear anymore. He's obviously looking right now. Okay, speaking of wives and girlfriends, wags as sometimes they're called in the business, Joe. We've got Travis Hunter's girlfriend. As you know, there's been a lot of talk about her body language, and there's been talk about Is there trouble in paradise? Travis Hunter, this young man, should be on top of the world. Heisman Trophy winner. He's going to be a high draft pick next year. He's the 60-minute man of college football. What is going on here between Travis Hunter and Leanna Lene? Because Polymarket is now accepting wagers that
Yeah.
They're going to break up potentially between now and draft day. What's going on, and should we get in on this action?
So the story
Here,
is
take a look at this, Joe. Yeah, for the people who don't know, just for context, this is his girlfriend. Deion had to put his hand on her shoulder before she actually stood up for him, and a lot of people thought that was a bad look, Joe. I'll listen. Tell me, break it down for me.
Yeah, so the internet is convinced that Leanna Lene is in it for the money. I mean, big shocker there. But this was Saturday night at the Heisman. She wouldn't stand up until Deion was like, "Get your ass up, shake your, go hug your future meal ticket here." So she says this was not the case. She only stood up when he stood up. She's explaining that she didn't want to she didn't want to take the spotlight away from him, Ricky. But the internet has multiple moments where they're concerned that she's just a pain in the ass, money grubber, stealing Travis Hunter's money, and they think she should be kicked to the curb, Ricky. And now you can bet on that on Polymarket. So Polymarket is famous for having the Donald Trump, the election, where you could bet on the election. Now you can literally bet on whether guys will dump their girlfriends before the NFL draft. This is brilliant. This is a huge game changer. You can see over here on the right, Ricky, it looks like the market went up to about 23% chance that she will get dumped. You can see over on the left that started up very high. Almost 50% of the money was on yes. So if you put $100 on yes, she'll get dumped, it will pay 300 and some change. So right now the odds are in favor of him sticking it out with her, but you have till April, guys. So you can bet it all the way till April. And if she gets dumped, you win.
What a time to be alive in America, Joe Kinsey.
I mean,
this is why our forefathers, this is why they fought the wars. This is why the heroes died. This is why it all happened, Joe, is so that you and I can wager on Travis Hunter's relationship.
It's a free country. New frontier.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. It really is. Well, Joe, it wouldn't be you on this show if we didn't draft something.
Let's draft.
Today's topic, and I'm going to need a draft order. Producer Tim, you give me a draft order, and I will honor it. But we're going to have a draft order. What we do here is he says that you get to pick first, second, and third, Joe. I don't know. Those Jamie Edmondson photos must be better than even we've anticipated. I don't know here. Share, Tim. All right.
Ooh.
Oh, there.
Whoa.
Look at that. She's in Joe's pants.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah, that's
Joe. She got into your pants, Joe.
Ricky, the story is she's wearing the logo of the website I started. That was my internet start, was that website. Tim graciously got that logo out of the way. This is from the photo shoot, and it's a great photo shoot, something the internet loved. So there you go, guys.
There it is. Just one man's story, Joe Kinsey, great American. And let's, take a look here. What's going on? I know over at Morning Screen Caps, you keep your finger on the pulse. Oh, this is the story on the pants. I thought we were going to Morning Screen Caps. My bad. Hang on.
Yeah, I've written about the pants. I've written about how I bought the pants. And, Ricky, the only thing that Auburn kept was the jersey. I own the pants. And so it's great that I still own the pants. And all these guys that are, they want a piece of Cam. I own piece of Cam. They don't. So advantage me.
Yeah, I mean, God, you're just playing with house money in life right now, Joe.
Right now,
it's pretty much what it comes down to.
You like to laugh, don't you?
I do like to have a laugh at times, Ron. This is true.
Listen, I'm just gonna I just found this really funny. Andrew Schultz, who is a newer comedian, but he's really funny. There's a clip that he just did, and I just think it's funny, especially me being a merch guy. It resonated with me. So let's go ahead and roll this clip and you just watch it and react.
I'm just saying he's fucking boring. Like, be honest with me right now. Do any of you love Joe Biden? No. Right? Biden ain't got no merch. Like, that's how I judge presidents now, bro. Can you move merch or can you not? Because Trump had merch, bro. That MAGA hat was iconic. Bro, that was white people's teardrop tattoo. That's what that was. You saw a white dude with that hat, you were like, yeah! He don't give a fuck! In public, dog! In public, the hat is the last thing you put on your body before you leave the house. It's so easy not to wear it. But some people looked at that hat like, how difficult do I want my day to be?
Pretty good.
I just thought it was
Pretty
funny.
good. Yeah, the hat's a statement.
The teardrop.
Hat definitely is a statement.
The teardrop.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, the hat is a statement. That's for sure. You got to be willing to accept that somebody's going to say something to you when you put that one on. Somebody might say something to you if you're wearing OutKick's merch. They might come up to you and say, "Why do you look so good, you sweet bastard?" If you make it over to shop.outkick.com and use our code HOLIDAY, you're going to get the absolute maximum savings on the sweetest OutKick apparel. And you can see some of those on the screen right now. I endorse the Thursday Night Mowing League merch, but you got a lot of options there. Maybe you DBAP is the message that you want to send others this holiday season. I'm sexy and I mow it. And a vast variety of other OutKick swag that you can wear. We've got the merch at shop.outkick.com. Again, use code HOLIDAY.
Hey, OutKick fans on YouTube, if you enjoyed this episode, hit the subscribe button and make your way over to outkick.com where you can watch the full episode.